morning. Can I take your order?
Can I get a tall chai?
A large black coffee.
A what?
Large black coffee.
Do you mean a venti?
No, I mean a large.
He means a venti. Yeah, the biggest one you got.
Venti is large.
No, venti is 20.
Danny.
Yeah. Large is large. In fact, tall is large, and grande is Spanish for large. Venti's the only one that doesn't mean large. It's also the only one that's Italian. Congratulations, you're stupid in 3 languages.
Look, Dick, venti is a large coffee.
Really? Says who? Fellini?
How much is that? Here's a 10.
Do you accept lira, or is it all
You know
euros
what? Just
now?
keep the change.
Oh, that is my favorite intro. So what's happening in the world? I hear California is still burning.
I don't know. We're frozen in. So last night,
That's all ice here.
I fell asleep on my couch watching the football game. Woke up about 2:00 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, well, guess I can go to bed now." And so yesterday, it got up like low 30s. It wasn't warm enough for anything to actually thaw, but all of the like snow started to get a little bit soft and squishy.
Yeah.
And when I walked out at 2:00 in the morning, it was just solid. Like, I mean, it was like stepping on concrete. I walked onto the snow and it was just brick. I'm like, ooh. So like I walked out in the road and just kind of gave like a little, like slide on your feet back and forth a little bit, see what it's like. I was like, oh. So I laid down, and Stephanie, as always, whenever I lay down, she'll wake up and go use the bathroom. And when she came back to bed, I was like, in the morning, when you get ready to leave for work, like, be really careful because everything turned to just straight fucking ice.
Yeah, my son's driving my car to work as his is dead. And I told him probably that 25 times. I'm like, go slow, leave early, drive super slow. Because everything, the roads are just pure ice here. Talking about insurance and cars. There we go.
Look at those trees. Look at that bum over there, man. He's down on his knees. Look at these women. Ain't nothing like them nowhere.
Jake from State Farm filming him dropping all the insurance in California right before the fires.
Have you looked at that?
No.
Okay.
I don't really care. But
so it was a bunch of plans that were already set to expire on December 31st. And it's not that they dropped all these plans. It's all of the plans that are like people are now discovering they don't have coverage. Their plan terminated on January 1st because they didn't renew it. Like it wasn't that they got dropped by some malicious insurance company. It was that they didn't have their auto renew on, and it's
and they didn't pay attention to any of their mail or any of their emails or any of their texts saying you're going to get dropped.
Well, I have one. So the insurance plan on the house on the corner. Every year, my premium on that house is higher than what I think it ought to be. Because it's a fucking $60,000 house. I have a $150,000 house that the premium is about, it's like any average $300 to $600 a year less for the $150,000 house than for the $60,000 house over here on the corner. So I spend the month of January haggling with them and get them to knock a couple $100 off of it, and then I'll pay it. So it's if something happened to the house right now, I don't have coverage. And so I'm sure there's something like that goes on. But also if you live in a fire zone in California, did you just fart? Come on, Steve.
Nice. Blew Kleenex. Blew my nose in some Kleenex.
Come on, Steve. You're better than that.
Hey, sorry.
Anyway.
I'll mute it next time.
If something happened to the house right now while I'm like haggling with them, then technically I'm not covered, and they could choose to be like, yeah, we're not taking care of that, because they have no obligation to do so because I'm not currently up to date on my payments.
Yep.
So I get it from both the consumer side and also from the.
Yeah, I mean, but here's the deal, though. It's not like they're just going to go, oh, hey, you don't have insurance anymore, and not get a hold of you to tell you that you need to pay your premium. Like, I use State Farm for our car insurance. I get emails a week out saying, hey, your bill's due on this day, blah, blah, blah. Even though I have it set up on automatic pay, they still do that. It's like, so there's no way these people didn't know that they didn't have insurance. But I don't care either way because let California burn.
I'm just checking my State Farm app because I'm pretty sure I know I've got 3 emails about my insurance on the house. Oh, yep, there it is. You're past due. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
See? As soon as I pull it up, it's like right there on the top. You're past.
I talked to my agent actually more than I probably should, but she was telling me like they won't drop me until they actually talk to me. So like, let's say I haven't paid in 2 months, she'll call me, and unless she talks to me, they're still not going to drop me because they'll just get it back. They'll just get it back part of, just get it with some penalties. She's like, we don't care. Like, we're not going to ever drop you. So
yeah, and I mean that's also like, I guess that's probably a nicer thing. I don't know how it is for you, but like for us, I've had the same insurance agent since 2012, like for as long as I've lived here. All of my vehicles, all of my homes, everything is all through the same insurance agent. It's the same chick that works in the office that has worked in the office since I first moved here in 2012. She's the one that handles my account. Like we have met and talked to each other multiple times a year for a dozen years. I'm sure it's probably something similar to you.
Yeah, I've had my insurance agent for, I don't know, we've been married 22 years. I've probably had mine for 15 years. Same guy.
I'm sure in California, they probably cycle through new agents every 6 months. And the people probably have no idea who their agent is. They just know they have their insurance through something. And
yeah. Yep. Yeah, you got to take everything with a grain of salt these days because people are full of crap. But you remember back in the Summer of Love when everybody was burning down cities and stuff and saying that everything's fine because they have insurance?
yeah.
Well, that's why our insurance premiums are so high right now, is because they cost billions of dollars in damage all over the country. And that's why all the insurance has gone up. But that and all the fraud that goes on in California, or in Florida, they get hail, and you got all these people going around saying, oh, you qualify for a new roof. They build a new roof and build an insurance company.
Well, and then, how does coverage handle it when it's not actually a natural disaster? It's arson.
Oh, yeah.
So some residents spotted this dude with a fucking blowtorch trying to set shit on fire. And so they apprehended him, knocked him down, and called the cops on him. There are other videos of
like the cops. You in the chat of that dude.
Of the cops apprehending this guy, and
well, they've said they've picked up multiple arsonists that are causing fires now. The thing that is interesting to me, though, is all the power lines that were just sparking for no reason. I mean, there's probably a reason. I just don't know what it is. So,
there was a video of some dude going around closing off the gas mains to houses that, like where the gas was still on. Like,
yeah,
you're telling me the gas company didn't shut service off going in this direction? Like, you're just allowing gas to pump into a fire? Like,
bureaucrats are kind of stupid. Tell me, I'm
Like-
dealing with one right now.
I mean, like when electricity or when the fire happens, like the electric company, the gas company, like those should be shut off immediately so as not to create so that you don't have power lines going down and then creating extra problems. You don't have gas lines blowing up. But also there are reports that the water was getting shut off. So you've got gas and electricity still running, creating extra hazards, but the water that they actually need to put fires out has been shut off. It's like, welcome to California, ladies and gentlemen.
And they live on an ocean. Like, there's an ocean within what, of a half a mile? Like, there's water there too, but they're not getting that water to put it out. Yeah, part of me thinks
okay. So there is something about salt, trying to use salt water to extinguish fires that it doesn't.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, there's actually a scientific reason that they don't just go to the ocean. Something about using the salt water, it creates other problems that, like, letting the fire burn itself out would actually be better than introducing this new problem from dumping salt water on it. So there is a reason for that.
All right.
I read a bunch about it when they had the big wildfires a couple years ago, and there were, like, I read a whole bunch about it because people were kind of those were the ones that weren't really doing a whole lot of property damage, but there were some instances where wind gusts were picking up and it was pushing the fires into small, like, residential areas and creating some major issues. But like, a lot of that one was just like forest fires burning wild. But there were people that were saying the same thing, and I looked into a bunch of that stuff, and there are legitimate reasons why they don't just go dip water out of the ocean and and dump it on the fires.
Yeah, the thing that part of me thinks it's just massive incompetence, and part of me thinks it's planned. I don't know which one to believe.
But did you see there were some like aerial photos of some of the Palisades, like, fires where the neighborhood is burned down, but the trees look untouched. And somebody, like, tried to explain that, oh, well, some trees are just hardier and withstand fire. And it's like, I'm pretty sure there's a limit to that. Like, like when you salt the roads, that means that it'll thaw up to like 26 or 28 degrees or whatever. But still, if it gets down into the teens, the salt doesn't help any. Like, your tree might be, fire hardy, but when you've got a full on, like, blaze going, like what they've got going right now, that wouldn't necessarily apply.
Yeah, I don't know. I think part of it is malice or plan. Part of it is just massive incompetence. I don't know which way to go on this one. But remember the dude that he was in Poland, that politician that put out the menorah? Remember this guy? Like, I think it was during Christmas he puts out the menorah. He's running for president in Poland in 2025. He's got my vote.
Who was the current Polish president?
I don't know, but I like this guy. Found that to be interesting. I need to send that to Pete. I don't know if he's seen that yet. I'm sure he has. I think he has a direct line into Twitter, into his brain. Knows what's going on.
Interesting.
What?
Oh, nothing. I was just looking at different stuff. What else we got going on in the news? Anything happen over the weekend? We've been snowed in. I did a whole lot of not shit.
Yeah, I haven't watched. I did nothing all weekend. I mean, just did normal family stuff.
Nothing.
The boy's girlfriend was over.
We played a lot of video games, watched football, watched a little basketball. Yesterday, so I've got a ton of movies over here, and Katie came over Saturday evening, and happy birthday! Oh yeah, old man. So anyway, Katie came over here Saturday evening and looked at all of my movies and stuff. I was like, pick something out. We'll watch some movies tomorrow. I mean, Sunday.
Yeah.
So she wanted to watch the Maze Runner trilogy. Now, I read the books back a long time ago when they first came out, and then the movies came out.
Yeah.
After that, and so I was really excited about the Maze Runner movie. And there were a lot of really important pieces of the book that they just completely left out of the movie. And there were a lot of things that got changed unnecessarily from the book to the movie. And it was like, it was one of those, like, I don't think I've ever actually I've never walked out of a movie, but that one I came really close. And then, so when the second movie came out based on the second book, I didn't even go to the theater to see it because I just had no hope for it. Yeah. And then I sat down, I rented it and sat down to watch it. And I got maybe a third of the way into it. And
you have to walk out of your living room.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I just turned it off. I was like, nope, can't do it. And so I tried 6 separate occasions to watch this fucking thing. And I never made it more than halfway through it. So yesterday I was like, all right, I told you we'd watch some movies. So we watched the first one. And I was explaining the differences between the book and the movie to Katie as it was going. And then we watched the second one, and it's like 10 minutes in, and she's like, well, what's happening now? I said, I have no fucking clue. Like, none of this is in the book. Like, this movie completely deviate. Like, it's just set in a similar universe with characters with the same names. But other than that, like, this is not based on the book at all. And so
the first movie was actually decent.
Right. I mean, it was
but it made no sense.
Well, especially in hindsight, when you look at the second movie and the third movie and how badly, like, at least the first movie took a lot of the same concepts from the book. It just kind of changed some things around for no real explainable good reason.
Yeah.
Like,
then they did the rave scene. It was like, what the hell? Like, that was just dumb. Like, they were weren't they in, like, didn't they go into, like, some, like, rave in the middle of the, I thought that was that one. It might have been a different one during that time.
The second movie, they're
like in the city, right?
I don't know if it's so much as a rave as like a
club,
an underground bazaar type of a club. But I think I know what you're talking about. Which that part is sort of in the book, but not the way that they did it either. Like, the whole thing was bad. So anyway, we get about halfway through the second movie. And I was like, all right, Katie, this is literally the furthest I've ever made it through this movie in all of the times I've tried to watch it. I was like, so we'll see it through to the end and we'll finish it. And I was like, I've got the book. Like, I've got all 3 of the books on my Amazon Kindle. And she's like, I think I've got your Kindle on my phone. And so I was like, hand it to me. And I looked at it, and sure enough, she still has my login to my Kindle login on her phone. So she pulled up the first book and started reading it as we're halfway through the second movie. And then she's sitting there as we're watching the third movie. She's sitting there getting mad about the first movie and the things that were wrong with the first movie because she's sitting there reading the book. And then the third movie, this is the first time I've ever even tried to watch it, and it was just abysmal. Like,
I don't think I watched the third one.
I
don't remember anything of it.
Absolutely nothing even remotely close to the book at all. It was terrible, just fucking terrible. Like, and that's the thing. Like, Dad and I were talking about this when I was home a couple weeks ago. Like, Dune, there's the Dune prophecy that came out on HBO, and Herbert didn't really do a whole lot with that. And I think his son Chris has consulted on this, and it's also set far enough in the past of that universe that it's like it can kind of be done in an inconsequential manner. Like, there's 10,000 years that's going to pass from the point of this show to when the happenings of the Dune books happen. So there's a lot can be just explained away with passage of time. But then you had like the Foundation series that was done on Apple TV, and it was abysmal. Like there are 8 Foundation books. I have read 6 of them. I'm halfway through the 7th, and so I was really excited about the Foundation series, and it was nothing at all, even remotely close. Like, what the fuck is this hot garbage? That was, I think I've said it before, that was the reason I canceled my Apple TV subscription. Like, as soon as the series was over, or the first season of that series was over, I just went and canceled my subscription. I was like, I'm fucking done with this shit. If that's what, and then the Rings of Power. Like, there are literally 50.
That was the worst.
Tolkien literally wrote 15 books on the history of Middle Earth. Like, you had that entire shelf right there.
Yeah.
That's nothing but Middle Earth. History of Lord of the Rings, all of it. Like, that's all that's on that shelf. Like, whole fucking shelf worth. And they did whatever the fuck. I watched 4 episodes of that show, and yeah, that was another one that I walked out of my living room on. It was like, nope, I'm done with this shit.
I mean, it's like even with the Star Wars, like the sequels, or like they had all the extended universe that they could have like pulled from, but they decided instead to like scrap the whole extended universe. And
right? How many Star Wars books are there?
Yeah, well, and now all those are non-canon now. Like, there's a bunch of Star Wars books that are just non-canon because of the way that they did that. So
such fucking bullshit. Like, you've got all of this source material to go from with excellently written stories, like great background, great character development, all of this stuff, and then you just choose to like go and fuck it up with some dumb bullshit. Like,
and the original.
All the more reason to let Hollywood burn to the fucking ground.
Yes, see that, and you got the porn industry out there. Like, let the whole thing burn. Don't care. Think they're paying their penance now for all their sins.
It's okay. They'll just move it to New York. Like, they'll move all that to New York.
That can burn too. I don't care. New York smells like piss, anyways.
As long as they've got DeSantis as governor in Florida, they won't be moving it to Florida. Whatever.
Yeah.
Have y'all watched the speaking of Florida, have y'all watched the Girls Gone Wild documentary, like about them, like the guys who are making that stuff? Hulu has it. I'm pretty sure it's either Hulu or it might be Peacock, but they have like a documentary or a docu series that like is taking a look back at Girls Gone Wild and the guys who like spearheaded that, and a lot of the shit that went on with that, because like they got in some trouble there at one point too. Like they're
didn't they have a couple of girls lying about age and stuff like that?
Yeah, there was a bunch of shady shit going on, and like out of just morbid curiosity, because I was a college kid around that time, so like you're watching like Adult Swim or like late night television on the regular cable channels, and there's like every commercial break has like advertisements for the Girls Gone Wild videos.
Yeah.
I remember those days.
We watched
I don't think they would get away with that today. On TV.
It's weird. We're in a really weird time, because like to me that's like everything that the like progressives want, but everything they also hate, like at the same time. It's like these, like they hate, like they're being beautiful like women or whatever, but then they also like they want the whole like trans and everything.
Sex work is real work.
Yeah. They have like they have a weird combination of like sex work is real work, and then also like they hate beautiful people and stuff like this. It's like I don't know. It's a really weird dynamic where like now they're almost more puritanical than the 90s Christians in some ways. Like, but they also want to be against that, so they have to like sex work is real work. It's weird.
Yeah, they got a strange combination of moral values going on. Moral values from the left.
Moral, quote unquote.
Stephanie and I started watching the docuseries about Nickelodeon and all that shit, and we got like 2 episodes in, and she's like, I don't think I can watch this.
I've heard about that. I have no idea what it is. I just heard that they did a documentary about it.
So the long and short of it is that the what position was he in? I forget. But Dan Schneider basically is not a good dude. He would effectively make a lot of the female actresses put themselves in situations where adults probably shouldn't be viewing. I guess like, oh, like here in this scene you're gonna get splashed with water while you're wearing a white t-shirt. Like,
Oh God.
yeah, that kind of stuff. It's like, like, you know, when you're watching it as a show, like when I see like, you know, the I can't remember which one it was, like, but like, I don't know, like Victorious or something like that. Whatever the one Ariana Grande was in, but then like, oh, like her character gets like splashed with water, but she has like a white top on, and so it's like,
Oh my
as a
gosh.
kid,
I didn't even know they did that.
well, when you're like a kid, like you don't really pay attention, and they kind of cover it up enough to where you can't see anything. So like it doesn't look like bad, but when you're viewing it from the eyes of like an adult, you're like especially like a director is watching that happen.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, that would not go over well if I was the dad of that daughter. Like,
Well, then like that, like
You gotta wonder too what the parents were doing, why they were just, I guess, the money.
is the money, yeah. Well, even one of the actresses, the what was her name? Sam, the one that played Sam. What's her name? Jeanette McCurdy. Jeanette McCurdy. She basically has disowned her mother because her mother was just like greedy about like, hey, you're gonna work, you're gonna do this stuff, and then you know I'm gonna get the money. Like she got all the money from her acting career basically.
Well, like Britney Spears, her dad had the conservatorship where he got all of her money. But then in hindsight, like now we see what's happened with Britney Spears. Like maybe her dad was like not wrong for allowing.
Well, I wonder if it wasn't he wasn't the reason that she, you know, like she seems like she has daddy issues. So
It seems like she has a lot of issues, but I mean, you look at like all those child stars, and you look at all of the not only child stars, but like the musicians, stuff like that, and it's like they all seem to have the same issue with parents that push them into it and then kind of use them for it, use them for all the money.
well, I think that there's a lot of like, hey, my kid is my kid's, you know, a cute kid, and they can act, like they can do this kind of stuff, and then you're just thinking like, well, this will be a good thing, like they can get started and then they can eventually make a career out of this. But then when in practice, it's just weird, you know.
Do you remember? Do you guys remember that show? I think it was Different Strokes with the midget kid.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like every single one of those people ended up in a bad space. You know, like she was a porn star. He ended up like the one guy ended up using drugs and killing himself, and the other one died younger.
Oh yeah, a lot of. I mean that's. I mean, why do we think like Keith did what he did? I mean,
Sorry.
Why do we think Keith Ledger did what he did? There's like a lot of like any actor. To me, like you're gonna have to put yourself in a very bad headspace to do a lot of that kind of stuff.
What's like you get
Especially
like
for child stars,
was
you
it
know?
Corey Feldman who spoke out about all that stuff?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did the other one? Did his friend die? Was it Haynes? Did he kill himself or?
I think that's right.
I don't know if he killed himself or what.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he killed himself.
In theory,
Yeah,
that's at least what they're saying. Like Epstein or.
Well, there's a lot of these kids that talked about that kind of stuff that everybody's just like, oh, they're just exaggerating. They don't know what's going on. Then like here we are 20 years later, it's like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Then you have all the stuff with Diddy coming out. Like I'm kind of tempted to watch. There's a
Well, it's so
documentary about
hard
him.
to figure out though. It's so hard to figure out though because like you have like the whole Me Too thing, and that seems like so fake. Like a lot of those stories, I feel like okay, you knew what you're getting into. Like it's not
Now
right.
you just regret it.
Yeah, well, it's not right that the director would do something like that. Like okay, like pay for play kind of thing. Like oh,
Yeah.
if you give me what I want, then I'll put you in this movie. Like that aspect I don't like about it, but at the end of the day, they knew what they were getting into. You know what I mean? Like they knew, like, hey, if I do this, he's gonna let me on the movie, and that's gonna give me my break. And they did it willingly. So
that's what they said, that the chick that was in Hunger Games. They said that her and Weinstein were a item. She's only ever been in his movies.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like as soon as that thing happened, she's not been in any movie since then.
She's been in a couple, but it's
Has
not
she?
been
not as much as she was though.
Yeah, definitely not as much as she was. She was in the whatever the X-Men's the sequel, whatever the reboot sequel kind of thing.
Okay. The reboot of the reboot of the reboot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they've rebooted that thing more. Like,
well, supposedly they're going to reboot it again, so I don't know.
Crying out loud.
Well, yeah. Now the MCU has control of it, so they'll be taking over and doing whatever.
The one they did, it was MCU, but they had some of the X-Men in it. They had the brother and sister. She turned into that one was actually pretty decent. Like that was a good story. But like I'm so over all of the MCU stuff.
I don't like to me I don't like all the I don't mind other characters being there, but I feel like they're trying too hard to like tie everything together. Like look at all this interconnected here's like this character in this movie, because even like the spinoff of like why do I care about the guy who's in Doctor Strange? Why do I care about the the martial arts guy or whatever, like the kung fu guy? And
they do one about him?
Not like it wasn't even it wasn't like Iron Fist or anything. It was just like some other, I forget.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
They did one about him?
Yeah,
they did a Shang-Chi. It was actually a really good movie, but if you're not familiar with the Mandarin and the Ten Rings and all of that stuff, then like
did they do the Mandarin in that one?
No, we haven't. So we haven't seen the real Mandarin yet, because the guy who played the Mandarin in
Iron Man
3, that was revealed to be fake, that he wasn't actually the Mandarin. He was just an actor pretending. And the real Mandarin is somewhere pissed the fuck off because he was being impersonated. But we haven't actually gotten the Mandarin yet. So I mean, the Mandarin could be an excellent storyline for the MCU if they ever figured out how to do it right. Which is kind of like when they bring in Shang-Chi, it's like, ooh, maybe we're gonna get a proper Mandarin story, and then nothing ever came of it with any of the other movies. Like they try to connect all this stuff, but then when they have a good opportunity to really connect something cool, they don't do it. It's dumb.
Yeah, it's pretty stupid.
I still think that the best Iron Man movie was The Avengers. That was a good movie.
No, the first Iron Man was the best Iron Man movie. Like hands down.
No, I disagree.
I don't like the villain at the end, I guess, but other than the actual movie itself, like other than the villain, is pretty good. Like the actual origin story of Iron Man is the best, probably besides the Spider-Man 2002 is the best origin story for a superhero.
Which one's Spider-Man 2002? I can't keep track of all
these.
these.
Sam Raimi.
Tobey Maguire.
Oh. I'm trying to think of which one that was. Like I have to.
It's the one where
it's
the one where he has webs out of his hands instead of the shooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You remember like?
Did you watch the one of the last movies with the Spider-Man when they brought the other three Spider-Mans and the?
Yes.
I thought that was actually really well done.
Yeah, it was actually really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I didn't like about it was that they didn't have the correct MJ. Like that's my only complaint is that they still have the like quote unquote fake MJ in my opinion. Like that Zendaya or whatever. Yeah, she's like
the
Well, but she's not-
the
but
Netflix
she's not married.
adaptation version of
the
MJ.
Netflix the Netflixification of
Okay, but number one, she's not Mary Jane. She is MJ.
Oh, MJ. That's
So-
right. That's correct.
So
They
It's a
haven't.
different
We haven't
universe.
technically. We haven't
and
technically
number
met me.
and number
Yeah.
two, Mary Jane Watson is one of the worst like wife girlfriend characters of all time. Like she is just
Oh yeah.
terrible.
Horrible.
Like
Yeah. I mean-
I am in a comic books fan group that has basically just become a Mary Jane Watson hate group. Like that's
Oh, he should have
once a
been
week.
with Gwen Stacy. Should have been with Gwen Stacy the whole
Yeah.
time. Like,
So-
should Gwen Stacy like is probably the best. Would have been the best bet like the whole time. Black Cat. I forget her name. Her actual name. Not Black Cat.
What'd you guys think of the cartoon versions of the Spider-Mans? I thought those were pretty decent.
To me the 90s one is probably the
Peak.
best.
Yeah, you've got the '90s Spider-Man, the '90s
Oh, I haven't seen
the
that.
'90s Batman, so Batman the animated series. You've got the original.
That was well done.
The original X-Men cartoon, and
Mm-hmm.
then you had the Justice League, the original Justice League series that came out around that same time. Like that was like
No, the original was like 70s.
No.
I meant
Well, I mean, like
Sorry?
there was a Justice League cartoon in the '70s.
I'm pretty sure. Isn't that that's like
Oh,
Batman.
Super Friends.
Super Friends.
Super
Sorry.
Friends.
See, this one is actually
Yeah, I'm
called.
old, man. I remember the Super Friends. That was
This
awesome.
one was actually called Justice League. It wasn't.
Yeah, the first actual Justice League show, I guess. But yeah, that Super Friends.
They
was
called
kind
it the
of
Justice League. Like they were in the Justice League, but they called it the Super Friends for the show. So that was.
And
old.
then what was? That was the one that was. Meanwhile, at the Hall of Doom.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
See, I don't associate that as Justice League though. That's Super Friends.
Yeah, what-
So anyway,
Because they are lacking a couple of members of Justice League anyway. Even if they say they're the Justice League, like they're lacking a couple of members there.
a lot. I don't think they had
Yeah,
either of the green
like half of them.
characters.
No
yeah.
lanterns. Yeah,
Yeah, it was like Batman and Robin, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and some other.
Aquaman.
Was Aquaman
yeah.
in it? And then was some
Yeah,
other.
yeah,
like-
Aquaman.
was in it.
Did it even have Flash? I don't think it had Flash.
No, I don't think it had Flash. I don't think so.
See, no, that's not Justice League.
If you don't have the lanterns and Flash, pretty much like that's not.
Hang on, is he talking about Harvey Weinstein had a foot-shaped pool?
Oh yeah. I
Did he
remember
invite Rex Ryan over regularly? Were they bestest of friends?
A foot-shaped pool. That's
Oh, or is that about Dan Snyder with Nickelodeon? Because remember Nickelodeon had the foot thing.
Oh
Yeah.
that's
The orange
probably it.
foot was like part of the
probably-
logo.
Yeah, he's probably talking about Dan Schneider.
I don't understand the foot kink. I don't like. I have like size 15 Hobbit feet, so I can't really like. I look at my own feet and I'm like, yeah,
Those are disgusting.
I don't. I like it. I don't want anything to do with feet. I barely want anything.
I
to
don't
do
get.
with
I don't
wear
get the whole
socks.
thing.
I wear socks 100% of the time. Like I'm.
See. I can somewhat get hands. Like if you're like,
Oh, man, hands are sexy. Yeah.
Yeah. I can get the hand fetish. Okay, like if you have a hand fetish, foot. I really don't understand the feet thing.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
Like-
That's like
And even like legs, but then I've talked about my
legs. I guess it depends on where you're talking about legs. If you're talking about
it
legs,
depends on where on the legs.
yeah.
like the kneecap is kind of weird looking, but above and below that we're good.
Yeah, I mean, some nice calves, like nice, sexy calves. Some sexy
But
thighs.
also, as I've talked about before, legs are heavy and they get in the way, so I
Yeah.
can also do without those.
Just like throw them back. Like here we go. Like we don't need those. Get those out of the way.
You can take that off and leave it in the corner. We don't really. Anyway,
Before you get stabbed.
moving on. Yeah, I gotta lock the door. No, she's at work. I'm good. And she does not watch any of my content.
Probably for the best.
Definitely for the best. Although
I
sometimes,
don't want to know.
although it's funny because sometimes she'll like bring me something. She'll be like, "Oh, look at this!" I'm like, "I literally talked about that last week. Like if you kept up with my content that I put out, you would have already known this." She's like, "I'm not listening to any of your shit." That means I can continue to talk about you, and you'll never know.
Yeah, I don't know what else has happened this weekend. I know we only have 7 more days till Trump gets inaugurated. Is it 7 or 8?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we're just waiting until that happens. Like everything else is kind of on hold. Everything's kind of like nobody's wanting to do anything. It's the new year. You know, I just I just gained another year. So.
Oh yeah, happy birthday!
Well, yeah.
That was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, my birthday was yesterday.
There is
one day, one year older.
some good news for you guys that all have your chickens. You can always oops.
When he
Get
wears
booties.
the boots, they take on the world. He doesn't have the tips of any of his toes, and he also doesn't have a tail, so they make him almost like duck feet. This lady found out that I ran a rescue and asked if I would be willing to take a chicken or two. In the beginning, he didn't move much. And then I realized that I had these old dog shoes that we don't use anymore. And so I put them on. And it turns out, ever since then, he's just been wearing boots like, every day. He has so much more attitude now that he has the boots. And I think it's just that it's given him the confidence that he can go farther. He's cruising the whole thing now. So I felt like that was a clear sign to us that it was pain that was preventing him from moving around.
Anyways.
It's crazy that the hens are like twice the size of that rooster. He's like
He was a little guy. I just thought it was a fun, feel-good story for the day.
I've been trying to chase our chickens off the fucking porch. They won't go away. Well, the kids thought they were dead because we hadn't seen them in a while. But we've got a like a little shoot or a little branch off of the barn over here where we keep the hay and stuff, and it's like out of the weather. So the chickens have just been in there like sleeping and staying in with the hay. But now they've started coming out and coming up on the porch and getting after the cat food because they finally ate all of their food. I've got a big feeder for them, and it's sat there like completely full for 6 months. Like they didn't touch the thing. And now that it's cold and snowy and they don't have bugs to chase or anything anymore, they've polished off of all the food in their feeder. And so now they're up here eating the fucking cat food. So I had to go refill their feeder, and now I have to chase them off the porch every day. They're annoying. Anybody want a couple chickens? I'm ready to. I want to get rid of the duck. I got to get rid of the ducks first. The ducks are annoying as all fucking get out.
Well, you can always make duck soup. So
yes, fried duck is excellent. Like you cut the breast into some nice like thin strips and bread it. Yeah, that's kind of.
What about sauteed duck? Is sauteed duck?
We're about to be 2 ducks short. Whenever Stephanie's like get home today and be like, "Where's the other ducks?" I'm like, "I don't know. You want some fried? From fried
meat."
Yeah.
Here, I fried you something. Like, don't say what. Just like, here's something like
Here's dinner.
I cooked supper. Yeah.
Although apparently when you make dinner, your wife makes it before you, so. Uh-oh. I think I hit a nerve.
Rip.
Yeah, that was the kids need to just learn to eat whatever we fix. Don't be making a separate meal for one kid because the one kid doesn't want the meal that I've established that I'm going to fix for
No,
the
you
whole
can never
family.
do that. That's not the way you do it.
Because then you give them the idea that they can just like, oh, if I complain and I will get my own kind of meal. Like
Right. Well, and that's the problem is like, I am mean. I don't give a fuck. I'm not here to be your friend. I'm not here to make you feel good about life. I'm here to raise you to be a functional adult and not get your way all the time.
See, that's like yesterday. There was my son fell and like bumped his head or whatever, and I'm just like you did something stupid. Like why are you crying over this? Like you should just say ow like I do and just go on. Like you gotta like you're almost 7. You gotta become a man now. Like this is and then like they're just like babying him like oh poor baby, like his mom and his grandmother are like, oh poor baby. I'm like, he did something stupid and then busted his head like on the floor or whatever. Like that's his fault. Like that's not like you tell him to stop being stupid. Like not explicitly stupid, but I mean stop doing dumb things.
That's how they learn, man. You can't coddle them when they're doing that stuff.
Yeah. But it's just like, oh, poor baby. Like it's like no. Like,
yeah. I wanted to get Clyde on today to ask him how his smoker went. Smoking the goat bacon or whatever he was trying to do.
He said it didn't turn out as good as he hoped it would. A little too smoky.
Too smoky.
Too smoky, yeah.
You're smoking stuff, man. It's gonna be smoky.
well, there is a too smoky. Yeah, there's
Is
a
there?
too smoky. Yeah, if I could taste this, like if it doesn't taste like just like cooked, but it tastes like smoked, then that's a different thing, I guess. Like if I can taste the smoke on it, I guess.
Yeah.
If it tastes like charcoal, I mean, I guess.
That's what he said. That's what he said. He said he over smoked it. Said it had too much of a charcoaly taste to it.
Yeah, that's what's bad.
So who won the game last night?
Which one? There were 3.
Was it Commanders and
the Redskins. Redskins. We don't call them Commanders. You will call them the Redskins.
I couldn't remember who was playing who. Sorry, I corrected myself pretty quickly. Chill out.
Those will always be the Redskins. We will not besmirch the
Hey.
good chief. So yes, the Redskins won. They beat the Creamsicles. I mean the Buccaneers. That Buccaneers did not wear the Creamsicle uniform, unfortunately.
So do they play the Lions now, or does?
Yeah, I think it's
Rams. It's Rams and oh god, who is it? Vikings tonight.
Yeah, it's Rams Vikings tonight, and it doesn't matter. The winner of the Rams Vikings will play the Eagles. So
The
Lions
Ravens won, right?
Yeah, the Ravens won.
So yeah, then they play the Redskins. Then Lions play the Redskins.
Correct.
Next week. That'll be a good game.
Correct. Ravens also won.
Lions should wax them, honestly. Should.
Hopefully, but they have a I don't know, man. It's like I've told my wife for years I feel like an abused wife with the Lions. Like every time they do something good, they turn around and beat the hell out of you afterwards because you had hope that they were gonna change.
While we're talking sports, John Rocker and Antonio Brown are 2 of the best follows on Twitter that have ever been.
7 days. Yes, I love it. Oh
boy.
I know Antonio Brown already said he's going to be at the inauguration. I wonder if he's going to be like standing behind Trump, like doing, hyping him up.
We need John Rocker and Antonio Brown like together at the inauguration.
Yeah, like coming up on the stage after, like celebrating with him. That'd be great. Just like come up and pop a bottle of champagne after.
Remember, was it ESPN or Sports? I think it was Sports Illustrated that did like a full like article on John Rocker. Like they followed him out to the woods when he was hunting, and
that was ESPN. Yeah.
Was it ESPN?
That was-
I couldn't remember if it was
yeah.
Sports Illustrated. Man,
Well, wait, let me see.
I think it was Sports Illustrated. Anyway, it was such an excellent article, and like he was just like a.
Are you talking about after he was disgraced, or like?
No, well, I mean, while he was still in the league at the time.
Is this the one, the story that broke where he got like canceled, or are you talking about the one where?
I think it might have been the one that got him canceled, but
I want to say it was ESPN, but the John Rocker story.
What was the whole thing with him?
No, it was Sports Illustrated.
Oh, okay.
What did he do that got him canceled?
Oh,
he said he's not a fan of foreigners, and he said
he doesn't like
York
foreigners. New York is a shithole. Yeah. He said a bunch of things that were objectively true. Basically,
it's all truth. Like
John Rocker is like.
You ever been to New York before? It's disgusting.
John Rocker is the original victim of cancel culture. Also, because he was just like a good old boy redneck dude that was like out hunting and like
he skinned a deer. Like
like he was just a regular dude that said things that regular people believe, and that got him on the wrong side of cancel culture.
I can't believe that to me, like the biggest like surprise out of all that is that the Braves, being in Atlanta. Well, I guess it's Atlanta is probably the problem, but like the fact that they're like a team from the South, that they would be like objected to him, like all the everything that he said and did in that interview or whatever. To me, it's like I would be like, hey, like this is our culture. Like you don't like it, like sorry, but. Man. John Rocker was right. That's all I can say.
Yeah, he was.
He's like, yeah, I told you. It's funny. The funniest thing is this account on his account. He was saying like, yeah, I told y'all about New York, and he like shows the videos of like the homeless people and all that kind of stuff, and the ones screaming and stuff like that. And he like, especially about the Daniel Penny case, he was commenting on the Daniel Penny case, and like, I told y'all this would happen. Whatever. He's a national treasure for sure. Pretty sure both him and AB both have like some kind of HGH like problems, and then also CTE at the same time. Like probably a little both, like CTE and HGH overdose kind of thing going on.
They got all the mental disorders, but neither one of them's a retard.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.